This is the Rich Dad Radio Show. The good news and bad news about money. Here's Robert Kiyosaki.
Hello. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Good news and bad news about money. And we have a very, very interesting show today. It has to start with the Goodwill Industries. And I knew nothing about it until one of the gentlemen on the call today, Will Fishback, encouraged myself to go and check out the operation. And I haven't stopped thinking about it. It was so well done, massive, huge operation. And if you ever have a chance, take the tour because it's mind-blowing. Sarah, you were with me. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I think what we'll find out today is you can't really comprehend how big this operation really is until you see it for yourself.
And how many people they serve and the education and, it keeps people out of poverty, which is fantastic. It's teaching entrepreneurship in many, many ways. And it's a huge industry. So anyway, welcome to the program, both Tim O'Neill and Will Fishback. And let's start with Will. How did you, what brought you to invite me to Goodwill? That's my question.
So, good morning, Robert. Will Fishbach. My day job is I'm a litigation partner at the firm of Tiffany and Bosco, but in my free time, I'm the chairman of the board of Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona. Why I knew you would enjoy it, Robert, is knowing you as I do and your love of innovation and entrepreneurship. I knew that when I took you on a tour of what we call the ROC, the Retail Operations Center, that it would speak to you in so many ways. One, the folks there that are kind of, the ROC is our clearance center. So there's a lot of resellers there that are buying things there. They buy it by the pound, then resell it online. We have our e-commerce platform there as well, where we sell kind of jewelry and unique collectible items. And then finally, from a social services aspect, you got to see one of our job centers. And you also got a preview of our Excel Center, which I'll let Tim speak to that more. But that's probably our next big initiative that we'll be starting that next year.
Right. Again, I was so impressed. We had to do this show, and if anybody has an opportunity to tour the facility, it's worth it. I mean, it is worth it. It is an amazing operation. So, Tim O'Neill, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Robert. It's nice to be here. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. So would you explain your relationship to Goodwill and what you do there and what keeps you interested in there?
Sure. Well, so I've been with Goodwill now almost 23 years. I've been in the business, it's hard to believe, for almost 32 years. I started when I was 18, had a chance to start at the very bottom and work my way up. And Goodwill is truly the love of my life. We have the most amazing people in the world that work in this organization. And we're fortunate to be able to do some really great things in the community to help our neighbors lift themselves up out of poverty and to be the best they can be. Will, he's heard me say this. He and I have been together now for a decade, working on all these things around Goodwill. And when he talks about, his day job, and then he talks about his free time, he doesn't have a lot of free time, but he certainly gives more time to this organization than any board member I've ever had the chance to experience. And so I think because of that, he and I have had a chance to travel around the country and do some different things. And it really makes Goodwill a fun place to be because we're innovative. And I think everybody knows our stores. Everybody knows they can clean out their closets and donate to us. But a lot of people don't realize where those donations go or what they do. And so
Correct.
I think keeping it really fun is all these new things that are coming up. The ROC, you getting a chance to see the recycling, the career centers, and seeing the stories of people that have really done some amazing things with a little bit of help from us. And then the most exciting for me are the things that are coming up over the next really 15 years.
Thank you. So, Will, what's your relationship? I mean, I'm impressed. You're an Army major, went with the 101st and 82nd Airborne, and Bronze Star, and that is quite impressive. And now to be an attorney and working for Goodwill. So, why is your
I'll say Goodwill is a passion of mine. I started my legal career in the Army as a judge advocate at JAG. I was served with the 82nd Airborne, the 101st Airborne. I got to serve in Iraq and Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and other spots throughout the world. And get to see the best and the worst of humanity, and also really appreciate just the wonderful opportunities we have here at home. But I got out in 2008 or 2009 and joined Tiffany and Bosco, and then the opportunity to serve on the Goodwill board of directors came up, and I've served on that board since 2013. And I agree with Tim. It's I other than my wife, who is the love of my life, Goodwill is such a passion for me because of the good things that we do for people. And maybe that's something I think Tim can probably explain a little bit. Is most people, they've shopped at a Goodwill, they've donated to a Goodwill, but not everybody fully appreciates what happens with the revenue that's generated from the thrift retail. And that's what makes Goodwill such a passion project for me.
Thank you. Yes, I'm still thinking about it. I still have pictures of it, and you can't describe it. I mean, you really do have to take this tour because it's a real feel-good time, especially today, and it's not so good a feel-good time, but it was very impressive. Weren't you impressed, Sarah?
Absolutely. I had no idea.
Yeah. We couldn't believe it. So that's why we're having Tim and Will on this program. So Will, explain what you can explain about Goodwill to the masses out here who are listening to Rich Dad Radio.
Well, again, you probably shopped at a Goodwill. You probably donated to a Goodwill, but maybe what you don't know is that the money that we generate through the thrift retail operation goes into social services and social innovation. And our mission at Goodwill is to end poverty through the power of work. And what that typically means is helping people build a resume, to achieve basic skills with, say, things like Microsoft Office, learn interviewing skills, and then most importantly, connecting them with employers, in this case, throughout Arizona. A lot of people think that, well, you only put people to work at Goodwill. That's not the case. We have strategic partnerships with employers, big and small, throughout Arizona, to get people work who want work. And the way we kind of look at it, Robert, is we're not offering people a handout; we're offering them a hand up. And Tim can probably give us the metrics, but in any given year, we give these types of services to thousands and thousands of people to get them out there in the workforce, earning money for themselves and for their family. And on top of all that, we keep several 100 million pounds of materials out of the landfill in any given year. So we not only have a wonderful economic impact, but also a great environmental impact as well.
Thank you. So Tim, explain your position and what keeps you there, what keeps you interested.
Sure. So I'm the president and CEO of Goodwill. And under Goodwill, there's lots of different organizations that fall in there. The stuff that really that has kept me here so far is the work that we do. And then we really do. We have such an amazing team. We work hard at the culture of this organization on a daily basis to make sure we're a great place for them. And so I just love, the folks that we work with every day. And then the stuff that motivates me are the things that are coming up. Will talked about what we offer in the community right now. And it really is something most people don't realize. We provide a few 100,000, it's over 200,000 free services to the community every year. That helps around 100,000 people go out and find jobs, not inside of Goodwill, but out in the community with the partners that Will mentioned. And it has an economic impact that's over $2 billion. And so it really is one of those things when you're cleaning out your closet, you're actually helping your neighbors, you're helping the state, you're making people better. And so that's what's exciting about today. And then, as we talked about earlier, this vision we have for the organization is that idea of ending poverty. And it's through self-sufficiency. And so a couple of the projects we're working on right now is this idea of an adult high school. And if you don't know, in Arizona and also many other states around the country, once you hit 22, you can never go back and get a high school diploma again. You're actually only allowed to get a GED. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting a GED, but it does make an impact on that person for the rest of their life in that they have about $600,000 over their career. They're going to earn less with a GED than with a high school diploma. And so we've been working with our state legislature to try to figure out how to remove that restriction from those folks. And we're close. We're close on that. We've been working on this now for a few years. And once that restriction is removed, we hope to open what are called Excel centers. And they're a best-in-class adult high school that can provide these people the true high school experience, getting them a real diploma. It also gives them the opportunity to have skills training during their last semester of school. And a person can come in and they may only need, 1 semester to get their high school diploma in that skills training, or they may need a couple of years. But during that time, they're getting the education, they're getting skills training. We provide free childcare on site. We help with transportation, because if you know about education for adults, childcare and transportation are the 2 major barriers. And they come out earning a great wage. They usually go in earning minimum wage, and they come out earning $18, $19, or $20 an hour with a certified skill and a job almost always waiting for them. And that's a big deal. And it's actually a big deal to the state of Arizona when you realize there's over 700,000 people here right now that don't have a high school diploma. And that number is growing. And so when you think about it from the perspective of helping your neighbors, you might have a lot of neighbors that fall into this category, no matter where you live in Arizona. And then you think about it from the perspective of businesses and tax obligations for each of us, and lowering those obligations. Having a qualified workforce and educated workforce allows businesses to move to Arizona. I mean, right now, I love this state, but our education system here is not rated as one of the ones in the country where you would want to move your business and your family to. And we believe these Excel centers can certainly help that and help today. When you think about things like early childhood education, it's incredibly important, but that's a 20 or 30 year timeline where you really start seeing some of the payback from that. With these adults, you get payback immediately. As a matter of fact, we had an economic impact study done on this school that shows any investment from the state is paid back within the first 2 years, and it becomes a cash positive to the state of Arizona, a cash positive to the individuals. And so that's the stuff that really excites me. And that's just one of the projects. We're getting heavily into this idea about housing, either affordable transitional housing, workforce housing, and really trying to make sure that we're doing the things to help the people of Arizona put themselves in the best position they can be long-term, so that once they receive these services, they don't have to come back 2 or 3 times in the next few years, that we help them get to the right place at the right time.
Thank you. And I think it was when Sarah were on tour, you said, what was the difference between a GED and a high school diploma? I never knew this. What's the difference?
Six. So the difference is a GED is the education equivalent, but a diploma is actually something that shows that you've completed all of the pieces necessary to achieve the high school degree. And does it mean that you've learned any more? I think that depends on the individual, but there are still many employers. And as a matter of fact, today, with all of the artificial intelligence that scrubs resumes and things like that before they ever make it to a recruiter, if you can't check that box that says you have a high school diploma, there's a good chance your resume is going to be put to the side because you don't meet those minimum qualifications. And so it really is, it's one of those things where I always believe that somebody's potential is based on them, not so much about the education or experience, it's the attitude and the work ethic. But when you look at the way that some of these algorithms work, it absolutely, if you don't have a high school diploma, you never even get a chance to interview for the job.
That was shocking on the tour. So when we come back, we'll be discussing more, because Sarah and I went there and we're still talking about it, what we saw. So if I can encourage you to, it's a feel-good type of thing. What Tim was talking about as a team, they're fantastic. I mean, such high qualified people, how they can analyze jewelry, analyze this, analyze that. They know who to ship it to. And they basically take stuff that people like me are throwing away and doing really a lot of great work with it all around the world. So anyway, we come back, we'll be going more into Goodwill and finding out more about how you can participate. We'll be right back. Come back, Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Our good news today is about the Goodwill Industries. I was so impressed that Sarah and I went to look at their huge facility here in Arizona. I mean, huge. And so our guests today are Tim O'Neill, who's the CEO, and Will Fishback, who is an attorney, but is also an Army parachutist. Worked with, is a JAG, Judge Advocate General. And I've had my run-ins with them in the Marine Corps. But anyway, and also he invited us to Goodwill I was so impressed. I was so impressed because in today's world with bad news everywhere, I think it's really important that you find out, if you're affluent, where do your clothes and shoes and jewelry and stuff go to, and what it does good work versus being filled and dumped into a landfill or something. Anything you want to say what you saw there, Sarah?
I think one of the pieces of the tour that I took away the most was after the tour, we they kind of took us through some testimonials, and you really got to see that, once you donate your clothes, which I think most of us are aware of, you donate your clothes or shoes or housewares or whatever, but really what long-term impact that has on the community with their initiative to really get people back to work and get out of poverty. I think that was the most impactful, was you saw that second step that we don't hear a lot about.
Correct. And then there's this place is huge. They have this room that's so big, and they have this trays, probably with 3 feet by 6 foot trays, and they load them full of clothing and stuff like this. And many, many people that they come in with their shopping carts, and they're shopping through these piles of stuff that people have donated. And then apparently they take what they pick up out of those. They're charged by the pound. Goodwill charges by the pound. And these guys look at this thing, and they have their own kind of an eBay website. So they're learning to be self-sufficient by taking stuff that other people throw away, and they turn it into a business. Man, that's so far beyond my brain cells. I'm going, how in the world you take this stuff, you shop through this huge room, all this, and then it turns into a business for these people who need work and money. So with that, it was such an impressive feel-good time, especially in a time of not feeling good.
Yeah. So the center you visited, Robert, we call that the Rock, our retail operations center. It's 300,000 square feet. So it is enormous. And among other things, we have our clearance center there, which is where we do sell our donated goods by the pound. And so you're right. You have entrepreneurs there who know exactly what they're looking for. If they spot a pair of jeans, they know that they can sell it online for a certain amount, and so they scoop up as much as they can by the pound and sell what they can, and they make a pretty good living that way. If you've ever been to one of our stores when we have a grand opening, folks will show up there, and what a lot of them will do, they'll target the books and the DVDs, because there is a huge kind of aftermarket segment for that. And they can just take their phone and just scan it and see exactly what they can sell it for online, and immediately kind of identify these little $5 and $10 arbitrage opportunities. And if you multiply that 50, 100 times, you can see how that can work out for somebody.
Yeah. And exactly as Tim said, that the team that works at Goodwill, I mean, I was so impressed at how much they knew about jewelry and watches and everything they knew about. And it's most impressive operation.
That's Tim's great leadership there in terms of building a very strong team. And Tim, I think, what do we have, about 4,500 employees now, give or take?
It's actually, by the end of this year, it'll be over 5,000 based on new stores. And that's one of the things that we really prided ourselves in, was trying to make sure that we were providing services all over Arizona. So we've added lots of new stores in areas that we didn't have them before. As a matter of fact, next year we'll have 11 new stores opening up throughout the state. And every time we do that, we add about 35 to 50 jobs per location. So just a little over 5,000 team members right now. And Robert, like you said, it is pretty amazing because, throughout Arizona, every day, we almost get 1 million items donated around the state. And that means somebody has to physically touch every one of those items. They have to physically evaluate every one of those items. And then they have to figure out what those items are worth. So there's a lot of training that goes into it. Our teams are really specialized in what they do. And you never know what you're going to find. I mean, you can walk into a store today and maybe pick up a t-shirt for $1.99, or you might go to one of our online auction sites. And we just had a painting that sold for over $40,000 that was donated. And so with that many items coming in, our teams, it really is important. They know what they're looking at. And I'm glad you had a chance to see that, because it is such a specialized business that people don't realize all the work that goes into making sure these donations turn into services on the other side.
Right. It is, like I said, it was a feel-good time. Especially at this time, it was the best timing in the world to see good work being done by Goodwill. So final words there, Will, we'll start with you.
Please donate your gently used household items and clothing to Goodwill, because every time you donate to a Goodwill, you are helping a person who's looking for that opportunity get a job and become self-sufficient.
Thank you. And then Tim?
Absolutely what Will just said. Clean out your closets, and it helps support your neighbors to get back on their feet, get the best position they can be. And if you'd like to go on one of these tours, you can go on our website at goodwillaz.org and put it in the questions about attending one of these tours. We love to show off what we do, and we'd love to let the community really know that we're more than just a thrift store, that what you donate to us, we sell and we put back into resources in the community that's going to make a huge impact. It's making a huge impact today, but just wait to see what happens over the next few years with these education initiatives, housing initiatives. And it really is the public that makes that possible by donating to us.
Yes. After I came back from the tour, I have a big box in my closet, and I'm throwing stuff in there. I'm kind of a pack rat. But I paid so much money for this thing.
Yes.
But I never wear it. You know what I mean? So it goes into my Goodwill box at home now, because I know where it's going and what it's going for. So again, I want to thank you guys for what you do. And like I said, in the time of bad news, it really was great to go to a Goodwill tour. So thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate the opportunity to join you.
Thanks for the support.
So we come back with a final word with Sarah and myself. Thank you. We'll be right back, you guys. Bye. Welcome back. Today we have lots of good news. It's about Goodwill and that industry here in Arizona. And Miss Sarah and I took a tour of the facility, and I'm still thinking about it. I mean, I was just blown away what I saw. And so anyway, you can listen to Rich Dad Radio Show anytime, anywhere on iTunes or on Android and on YouTube. And by the way, all of our programs are archived at Rich Dad Radio. We archive them because repetition is how you learn, but also you may have friends, family, and business associates who might need to hear what services Goodwill has. Like, I never knew that about the GED versus a high school diploma.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we learned when we took the tour, which Tim mentioned. Anybody's open to take a tour. You just sign up on their website. And I do recommend everybody take the tour because, growing up, or even now in adulthood, most people only think of them as a donation center and then a retail resale center. So, if you can go shop there at their retail locations or whatever. But the real impact is they take that money then that they, earn at the retail centers, and that's where they put in, or it goes to educating then the population who is having trouble finding work or, whatever. So it goes much farther than I think even I understood until we took that tour.
And that huge room with all these boxes in them piled with clothes and shoes and stuff like this, people are like just going through it. Well, it gives them supplemental income. Right.
And that was it's kind of a multifaceted, really, the impact that they're making. But the entrepreneurship too, to me was, I guess it never dawned on me.
I never saw it that way.
Yeah, I never saw it that way. But yeah, they find their pieces and then resell it online, and then that becomes their income or supplemental or, side gig or whatever.
A side hustle.
Yeah.
And they're learning about business.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's why, like I said, I have a Goodwill box, and I hang on to things because I spent so much money for it, but I never wear it. Yeah. So I just dump it in there.
Right. Well, and then the way the tour works, so you kind of hit that resale center, where people are going through and buying items by the pound. But then the further you go back, you get into what they have as their e-commerce site. And so they're donated items that then they're reselling. Goodwill is reselling on their e-commerce platform. But what I thought was so interesting is the people that they hire obviously have used their services in the past, so they're finding employees, but they're highly specialized. Like they help sort through the jewelry to identify what's valuable, or the electronics, or remember the antiques that they had. Like they have people that are specialized in determining the value of the antiques. So like, it's such and then you go even farther back, And they have this huge room of stuff that they donate then to like third world countries.
Right.
But all of it is intended to keep it out of the landfills and to really, they have this kind of like their own ecosystem that they've created.
Right.
Which is so fascinating.
It was, like I said, it was such a feel-good time. And they're not putting it on just for the tour. It's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, in one sense, it's what they do. That's the good news.
Yeah.
And it's with Goodwill.
And then that was the second thing. So then after the tour, as I mentioned, you kind of hear we watch a video of these testimonials and really the impact. And that's where we learned about the GED versus diploma issue in the state of Arizona specifically, but they were saying it happens in a lot of states. Yeah. And the stigma around a GED versus a diploma and how they're really trying to pass legislation to get that changed so then they can further the education.
Right.
For these older adults. So fascinating operation.
It was amazing. What, 5,000 employees or something?
Yeah. He said 5,000 across just in the state of Arizona. Yeah. And they're expected to open 11 new stores next year. So I know I've seen a lot of things online where people, why would I donate to Goodwill when they're just going to turn around and sell it? But the key for their business model is that money, that income that they make by reselling it then goes to educating these older adults who may not have an opportunity to get a job or, even have a great looking resume. They help people build their resume. So it's a great cause that everybody should look into.
Right. And like I said, those boxes were hundreds of people going through the clothing, buying by the pound. They're learning to be self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, wow. It's such a good thing, and the money then goes to better causes.
Yep.
So anyway, thank you for listening to the Rich Dad Radio Show with a lot to be thankful for and grateful for, and this was a good news, good feeling show. So thank you all very much. If you have a chance, please contact Goodwill and go on that tour. It's mind-blowing.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.